Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Device Management Interface Brigade call. Thanks for joining. As usual, the call is recorded and will be published on YouTube. I've published the last two a couple of days ago, so please be mindful of whatever your comments you made, that these are public and shared. Okay, so I think we're in pretty good shape. There were some things that went in this week. On the repo, especially the protos. A Go generated sort of a package, a Go package are generated out of the protos, and a documentation, which we will talk about a little bit in a little bit. So let's start with that. Amit, do you want to talk? Do you want to guide us through what you uploaded here, and especially the two Kafka topics?
Yeah, I could talk about that. So if we just scroll up, so I tried to represent pictorially how the metrics and or the periodic metrics and the events would flow. So trying to specifically call out that the periodic metrics and the events flow through the Kafka bus, so northbound components would be listening for those. And whereas the other APIs, the return result of those would be going back through the gRPC channel. And what we said about the Kafka topic is that they should be configurable at the startup of the components, but we recommend that as default values, dm.events and dm.metrics could be used as the names of the topics. So that's all that's captured out here. If you have any comments, feel free to comment on those, or you could create a Jira for those, and I could address them.
I think that the DM events and DM metrics look good to me. I think we're fine for those. Anybody has any comments on? Do we need to pick any other Kafka topic as a suggestion? Oh. Then okay. If in the future we will have to change it, but I think we're in pretty good shape there. Okay. So next up, it's a topic that I had on my plate to do some investigation on what was there and what was not there, and what was the state of things in the code base. So in the existing code base, there is actually some stuff related to image update on the device. As you can see here in the Volta protos, we do have some information related to the image download, an RPC to get the download status, to get whatever image was downloaded, to get the database record of the image, list the downloads, cancel one, activate the image, and revert. So this is what was present in Volta, what is today still present in the Volta protos. That said, nor the OpenOLT adapter or the OpenONU adapter implement this. So if you take a look at here, there's nothing there, nor there isn't anything in the ONU adapter, not implemented. There is some stuff in the core, but it's just basically a pass-through to the adapters. And as we said, the adapters have no information about this, and they're not implemented. So this is really worthless code that you can call it against the core, but the core will not know what to do with it, at least at this point in time. What we do have is this admin state downloading image, which is never exercised, again, because nothing is implemented. But this brings back to our topic that if you go and check the protos, this was not a stream. So last time we discussed whether to use a stream or not a stream for the return of the image update notification and those things. As we have currently in the protos, we do have a stream in there here. This one. So in the existing protos that were probably done in Volta 1.x for some testing that was done by Adtran and a few others there with the old code, that was not a stream. So that's what it's in there. My proposal, independently of what we go for, so let's shelve that for a second and let me propose something. My proposal is that independently of what we decide, whether a stream or not, we should take this code out of the Volta protos. Because otherwise we create a 2 point of contact for image download and update, which is not good. Since the TST decided that this device management interface is the responsible for the API to handle device update and stuff like that, this code should go out. If that
sorry, Andre.
Yeah.
So this code that is there is specifically for the ONU image upgrade.
Yeah, the
that has to be
ONU
there.
is a special case because you have to go through the ONU device adapter probably to do the OMCI transaction.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we probably need to at least document this better, because this looks exactly as our stuff. Like, it's identical.
Yeah.
So my take is that if it's just the ONU stuff, then it's right that the OLT does not implement it. But then we should, create stories not to us, but to the community and the other teams that need to create implementation to do this. And we need to make sure that this is really ONU specific, either by changing the name, either by putting some documentation in here. But to the best of my knowledge, the ONUs don't have a standby partition. So it's just a one-shot update. Am I correct?
No, ONUs do have a standby, and we probably want to actually step back a little bit and not talk about necessarily ONUs, but what if that happens to be a G.fast system that needs to be updated? I think we're still going through either the whatever the customer device adapter is. In this case, currently it's just an ONU, but what if it's something else in the future? So, I mean, so we probably don't want to label it ONU, but we need to make sure that it's somehow labeled that it's the remote device that's, out, that has to go through a proxy channel to be manipulated or updated. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. It does. Okay. That's okay. Related to a new customer device update needs to be. So basically what we're saying is that this needs to be properly documented in the protos. It's not for the OLT. And then it will need to be implemented in the adapter. Would that work?
Yeah, that should probably work. And
I'm not sure if this would be the case for G.fast, because Chip mentioned G.fast, because these are not up. I mean, this is probably more for devices who are really connected to an OLT and have to be updated via the OLT, right? Via the proxy channel, and a G.fast DPU is probably not you don't use it via the proxy channel, but you can connect directly to it or via IP.
Yeah, yeah, because it'll be over the top with probably. Well, hopefully
Yeah.
it's. Yeah, I think some
And-
people do support OCI, but we don't want to. We don't want to go there.
Yeah. But I guess the standardized would be more. I mean, there are two types of DPUs. So, but for one type, and in this case, it could be even the device manager who would be doing the software update and not whatever there is in Wartham. But sorry, I didn't want to confuse anybody. So I think it's totally okay here if you say this is for ONUs and just don't mention perhaps G.fast here.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but yeah, I just wanted to try to keep it a little bit more agnostic for
Yeah, that's fine.
for future cases.
Okay, yeah. Then maybe this is an action item for myself to document this and to come up with a patch that shows the fact that this is really related to the ONU customer device or customer device. Perfect.
Just
Okay.
out of curiosity, because you looked deeper into it, how is it's handled? So you call the API, so you call the RPC, and how do you get the feedback? So do you really have to poll the API then?
Yeah. It's a polling.
Yeah, it was a physical polling capability. So
Okay.
I don't think there was any events defined to show any significant state change.
And there is no putting on the Kafka bus. It doesn't send anything on the Kafka bus.
Yeah.
So
is polling here really a nice concept? I mean, don't we have a lot of ONUs we have to update and?
Again, yeah, I don't particularly like it, but I don't think we are the right place to change things. Whenever we will need to implement that feature, which will be some time fairly soon, we will take a look at this API and change it probably. So independently, my suggestion would still be that we need to take into consideration what we do for the stream or not stream. There was this discussion last time. This is what was done for the ONU, and this is how it's done. I don't particularly like the polling, but also I think that putting an event on the Kafka bus is not too bad. So actually returning, okay, I've started the procedure, and then at the end of the procedure, you get an event on the Kafka bus. That looks fine to me because anybody can take that event. But I really put myself in the hands of the group for a group decision on what we want to do for this one. I have no real preference. I'm fine with the stream. I'm also okay with documenting the fact that the event comes back into a Kafka bus. Any thoughts, anybody?
So yeah, my preference would be to retain the stream and also output the events onto the Kafka bus. So the client would basically work on the stream, but the events on the Kafka bus can be picked up by other node-bound systems who would want to monitor what is the progress of the download and things like that. So rather than tying it up onto the client, they could build a parallel way of doing monitoring and things like that. So it's always good to have the events going out, right, asynchronously. So as in that's my preference, but yeah, would like to hear from others. What do they prefer?
This would be fine for me. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's helpful. So.
By the way, I'm not an gRPC expert, so having, I don't know, hundreds of or thousands of these streams in parallel is not an issue, right?
No, not really. Shouldn't be. Depends
Okay.
on implementation, but that's fine. So yeah, let's do this. So keep the stream, but please, Amit, put there some documentation along the lines of what you did for the metrics on what is expected to happen here, and that we do expect the Kafka bus event to be generated. And that also allows us to regain from a situation where the original client that called this message failed. Because eventually the message will be on the Kafka bus and somebody else could pick it up. So that's pretty good, I think.
So Andrew, can you please create an action item on me for this so that I remember to do it? Thanks.
I will do the same here. I will come up with a patch by next week to document the fact and just change nothing, but document what we have. Okay. Something else that I wanted to discuss with everybody is what we think would be the procedure, and we will need to document this, on what happens with the relationship, come up with a proposal and then go to the TST on what happens when we decide to update an OLT, for example. My personal thoughts, and I know a few others share this, is that what we expect to happen is that when the NEM takes the decision to update on OLT, it will go in, delete the OLT from Volta, voltctl device delete or the REST API equivalent of that, perform the update through the device manager interface. And then this will be basically a fresh new device for Volta. It will recall create, and then we'll call enable. Would this workflow be okay for everybody?
Well, that's service affecting significantly. So I didn't know if the need for a hot standby. I mean, maybe a hot, a live update. Some devices are capable of that.
Oh, you mean, oh, yes, this is service impacting, meaning that the voltctl device delete will actually go in and basically clear flows, clear everything. What you're proposing is having not so strong API like like disabled but not really disabled, that does not purge anything on the device if the device is capable of doing so. Is that?
Yeah, because we're able to actually download to a standby partition, and in the Volt world, what I envision, of course I haven't got that working yet, is after the download is complete, just to send a Volta reboot command to the device, and when it comes back up, the adapter is still live, and so we'll do a reconcile. So obviously you have service affecting as the reboot occurs, but you're not looking at a full tear down of the flows and the various ONU information.
Okay, this would need some work in Volta.
Yeah.
I don't think we have that capability at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you probably could do that in Volta with the current calls right now, but it would probably be, it's not necessarily the first implementation of device upload capability. First we need to get the ability to upgrade a device. Then we need to, of course, strive to make it less impacting. So I think those could be two different, phases of the project.
So so what we were thinking was something in the lines of NEM does an image download through the device management interface onto the device. So that would download the image onto the standby. And then at an appropriate time, NEM asks to activate this image, again through the device management interface, and which would basically activate this image by rebooting the OLT through this image, right? So the thought is that Volta does not need to do anything out of the ordinary in this situation. What Volta says is that the OLT has just rebooted. And it reconciles and works just how it is supposed to work with the OLT reboot.
Yeah, I mean, this looks fine this looks fine to me, but upon okay. Well, currently at the moment we do purge stuff on the OLT on reboot, so it's basically the first one.
No, but we don't delete the OLT.
We don't delete the OLT, but we do clear flows.
Yeah, but that happens as part of the reboot workflow. So
yeah,
it's nothing specifically that we need to do for a software upgrade in Volta.
Yeah, and then what I was talking about is pretty much the third workflow. So you can probably,
So yeah, I mean, the difference between 2 and 3 is the fact that in 2, you are signaling to Volta that even upon a reboot, you don't need to purge anything.
Yeah, we had 2 is just a little bit more graceful, but a device adapter in Volta has to handle the capability of the OLT rebooting by, because of a power failure and recovering. So.
Okay, I think that for now we're fine with number 3. A little less graceful than number 2. 1 is the worst case scenario. If something goes really, really bad, you can go back to 1, I think.
Yeah, well, having the events on the Kafka bus of the state changes in the device download can help alarm correlation of the reboot happening. So.
Yeah, okay. Then maybe, Amit, while you're documenting this, can you add also this one to the new? I would be expecting something along the lines of this, but for the update. Would that work?
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
To have a sample or proposed workflow for the upgrade.
Yeah. And this is good because it does not touch anything. And if the update fails, the device will be reverted to the standby image, and after the standby image, the old image, and Volta will still see it as a reboot, but it will be back with whatever was there before, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I think when we do have a little bit of things settled in the documentation, as I was doing here, it's maybe worth doing a presentation at the TST, maybe not next week, but the week after. We should probably do a presentation of the current state of this at the TST. So I'll try and put together that and put it on the agenda. Something like that. In order to make sure that the TST agrees with the decisions that we're making, especially here, these and the Kafka bus events and all of that, just to give everybody an update. So I'll do that. Perfect. Okay. Anything else on this topic, on the update protos?
I have a general question on the interface. It's the second the start managing device. Yeah, start managing device
here.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. So I think Amit and I already discussed that hardware is not correct, but it should be modifiable component. So you get a modifiable component as parameter, and can we have a look at this one? I think this is, I'm not sure if it is here. I think it's in common, in hardware, I guess. It's in hardware.
Oh, it's in hardware.
Yeah. Yep, go down. Okay, it's there. So I'm just looking at the parameters, and I'm looking, so what is it that identifies a device? So if you say start managing device, you will pass this information and you will get an UUID back. And I think the UUID is then later on used for everything in the system. It's every event is tagged with a UUID, and so the UUID is really important here. And I'm not totally sure what the UUID is, how to generate a UUID. Is it generated based on the name, based on the URI which is here, or should it be generated based on a serial number of the device which is managed?
I see.
Amit?
Yeah. So so the UUID is what would identify the device, or actually for each component there is a UUID, right?
Yeah.
And the reason UUID has been chosen is to make sure that it is unique across the system, right? Not only unique within a device or within a hardware. So if you take an example, say, of a fan, right? The UUID of each of the fans on each of the OLTs have to be unique. So they need to be generated in such a way that they are unique within the system or across the system, sorry. Same thing holds true for the UUID of the OLT, right? So it has to be unique. So we could choose something to generate, or something as the base of generating the unique UUID, which we are sure would keep it as unique. So if the serial number is going to be unique across all your devices, then yes, we could take that as an input to the UUID generation logic, and that would ensure that yes, this UUIDs would be unique.
Yeah, but this case, the serial number is not part of the data which is passed to the RPC. So, I mean, we can detect the serial number when we can connect to the device, and then we would use the serial number. But is this what should be done, or should the serial number be passed to? I mean, the system on top also has to know which device is really connected to.
Yeah,
so we can read. Yeah.
It could cross-check that, right? So I would think that the most important parameter there would be the URI, which would take the IP address of the device, right? So the first validation that has to be done is this a correct IP address, right? Is the format correct? And are we able to connect to it or not? So once we connect, if we are able to connect to it, right, we'll learn about the device, right? So at least a few aspects of the device, and based on that, you could generate the UUID.
Okay.
And
yeah.
as you correctly say, that not-bound systems will also have the serial number. Yes, they will, but I would think that that should be used more as a cross-check, saying that, okay, the device that I have learned or I'm seeing on this is the same one that I expect it to be. But because somebody needs to do that check somewhere.
Okay. But this would mean, which could be totally okay, but when you call this manage, what's it called? Start managing device also.
Device. Yeah.
And the device is not there. It's not switched on or whatever. So we cannot actually give a reply at that point in time. We really have to wait until the device connects, until the device manager can connect to the device, and then we can send back a message, and then the serial number is also known. We could generate the UUID out of it, but only at that point in time.
Yeah, so I think it's worthwhile to look at the response for that. Is it a stream or?
It's a stream, yeah. So
yeah, so
I think this
would
be possible, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that case, the caller has to keep waiting, right, on the stream for the response.
So this is, you keep waiting on a certain device, which this will be modifiable component, until you get this start managing device response, which is effectively two things. One is I was able to connect to the device, and the device is there, and this is your UUID that is based on the serial number of the device. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we probably ought to document this too. Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, perfect. On next topic, there is the AAA authentication authorization stuff that was brought up last week, thanks to David. Did anybody had time to take a look at it?
Well, Andrea, I did glance through it. Truly speaking, I didn't go into the details of it. But what I was thinking is that this is something that could be used for the authentication between the NEM and the device management interface implementing entity, right?
Yeah.
And not really between the OLT and the device manager.
No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So given that this is more of a generic proposal, right? It's not specifically for the device managers. It could be for anything, right? Even for the Volta core to, I don't know, adapters or systems who are exercising the Volta core APIs. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, at least for me, it looks good. But I don't have much of an experience on this kind of authentication systems using tokens and things like that. But yeah, it looks good to me. But I think we would need more inputs on this.
Okay.
It also looked good for me. I mean, you have possibilities for role-based access control, so everything looked good. My question was only, this would be optional then, or is it then required to use it?
That's a good question. Not exactly sure. I would not put it as a requirement, meaning that you could have a flag or something that just turns it off. And if it's turned off, it's turned off. You don't use it. So having said that, I think let's maybe wait for David to come in to chime in. But I would take the action item after we maybe finalize the first version of the protos. We maybe release them, and then we do have this integrated as a 1.1 or something like that. Would that work?
Yeah, but Andrea, my understanding is that this, even if we choose to use this, it's not going to affect the protos.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just that we would strongly suggest whoever implements the device manager to use this, and we would probably put some documentation around it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. I can create a Jira.
Is there currently something in Volta which is using
No.
this kind of? No, right? No.
This could also be part of a TST proposal that we could make to use this also in Volta because of the same issues. So let's shelf it for now. I'll create a Jira ticket so we track it, and whenever we feel we need it, we put it in. Would that work?
Mm-hmm.
I'll create the Jira ticket. Okay. Perfect. On the last point, this one, forgot the link, it's here. I personally don't have any update, and I did not hear from Manuel nor Paul about the BMC stuff. Amit, did you hear anything about this?
No, Andrea.
Perfect. Okay. Then what I would do is that I would call it. I would say that we can document. I can clean this up and say that these three events are what we care about for the first MVP. This one, CPU, disk, and RAM, power supply. If we need it, that's an option. That's an optional. Holger, did you investigate if you guys support it?
I think we do not, but the problem is it's not. I mean, the question is, do we support it right now? Could we support it in the near future? Or this is the problematic question for me, and I don't have an answer yet. So currently we do not support it, so I could not implement it in the device manager, but yeah.
Okay, then it might not be there. We could just say it's important, but it's optional because.
Hmm.
Yeah. Device temperature, same measurement on the board, and the fan speed, and that's it. So I'll clean this up.
Andrea, hi. May I chime in?
Yes, please.
I'm also told we are also required to read PON transceiver transmit power and receive power. I know that the receive power of a specific from a specific ONU. To read that value, we should trigger RSSI measurement from Broadcom API. But for the transmit power, we can directly read it from the transceiver. So I think this is the subject of this brigade. That's why I would like to bring it to your attention here.
Okay, I think that the transmit power, if we can read it out of some value, that's fine by me. The Broadcom API one, I'm a little bit more doubtful that.
Actually, the value is still on the transceiver, and you should read it from directly to the transceiver. But first, you have to trigger an RSSI measurement for a specific ONU behind that PON. That's why it's a little more complicated than the transmit power. RSSI, double S, yeah.
Okay. Was there any discussion in the Volta side to do this that you know of?
Not as much as I know. No. We discussed this with Paul actually,
Okay.
one-to-one, and we also make a proof of concept with EdgeCore. EdgeCore, I and Paul. We created a ticket to EdgeCore to how to read those values from the transceiver, etc. So we actually did a small POC, but not for we didn't progress from there.
Okay. Okay. So maybe this one needs to be brought up to the TST first, because if it needs the Broadcom trigger, I don't really want the device manager for the OpenOLT to have to do that and have to know about the Broadcom APIs.
It seems like a PON specific, it seems like a job of, Volta, maybe OpenOLT Proto side.
So what you're suggesting is that we have the Broadcom measurement on Volta, and then we read the PON transceiver from here?
Yeah, from the C side, yeah. It's actually quite a simple task. But I don't know which, that may be a gray area,
Yeah. So I am not terribly familiar with this, so I might need to talk to Girish or somebody else that has a lot more knowledge about this. Let me take a note.
And you can include me in that discussion, because we in the BAL Brigade maybe we can discuss it also.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. Start an email thread about it and see what we can do. But the PON transceiver transmit power, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And the operation software update, that's okay. So I'll clean this up, make sure that we have it clean enough. I'll document this in MVP somewhere. I'll document it. Okay. Okay, so that was all I had on the agenda for today. Anything else that you guys want to bring up on while we have everybody here? No? Okay. Then if not, I'll give everybody 10 minutes back of their day. And we do have some action items. I'll do follow up with folks on these things. Please let's continue discussing on the channel as we did this week. Thanks for that. And any update that needs to come on the protos, any reviews, please do send them on that channel so everybody can take a look at them. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all.